everybody. This is another episode of Max One-on-One and also for the Midnight Madness radio show. Today I have a privilege. Today, it's amazing that, I'm talking to this guy, a legend, an icon from, the punk rock in Canada and all over the world, because he also lives, in a couple of countries. Ted Axe, how you doing, brother?
How are you doing, Max? Good to talk to you tonight.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for your time, and the opportunity of interviewing you. So tell me what's going on with you. What are you up to these days?
Well, I started a new band about a year ago, and we kind of started in a huge place, a big venue, and just been trying to keep up that level of performance. Okay. We've had a great feedback from the band, from the audience. And just got a couple of new members in it, so we're practicing up for summer shows.
Very cool, very cool. You have a new record, right? That's Sex, Horror, and Violence.
Yeah, Sex, Horror, and Violence, released independently last year, and just been doing songs from that album.
Oh,
it's
nice.
It's an album that's got something for everyone. It's kind of dark rock and hard rock, I would say. Mm-hmm. And, I'm influenced by a lot of the guys from the 70s, actually, like David Bowie and T-Rex, New York Dolls, all the greats.
In the 70s, how was to, live that generation, right? So tell me a little bit about that feeling of the 70s.
Well, the 70s was great because, as a kid, you could go into a record store and leaf through the records, and there was so much more to see. The albums were big, and the images were prolific, and I think that was some of the things that kids miss today is going into a record store and going through all the albums. And I would go through the records and see which guys look cool, and be very interested in that, their hairstyles, their clothes. Yeah, I remember going to the record store and they were playing this music I'd never heard before. I was just transfixed. I said, "Who is this?" So I went and asked the proprietor, and he said, "It's the new Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, wow." And, so that image of this cat with red hair and looking very futuristic in a milieu of where everybody else looked like a hippie was fascinating. And so that was kind of a new feeling for me, discovering new artists. I was interested in artists that were androgynous looking, and wore a lot of clothes stylistically that were different from hippies.
Gotcha.
I was kind of into the glam of it all back then, even. Yeah, and then I got in a band called The Action, which were now are kind of considered Canada's first punk band. Yeah. Not much of a digital footprint, I'm afraid, because it was quite long ago. But we ended up touring with the Ramones and the Stranglers, and things happened very fast, and they fell apart very fast, as was the way back then, kind of thing.
How was, a conversation with the Ramones, or how are those kids? That they were like freaks, or there were people that you could talk to,
Yeah, the Ramones were kind of like a family. Everyone thought they were brothers, really, because they the same, but they were very professional. Not like they're portrayed at all, because they had a real performance ethic, and Johnny Ramone, the guitarist, would say, the way to perform is to focus on the back of the room.
Yes.
And just keep your eyes on the back of the room, and it looks like you're looking at everyone else. So I learned a lot from them.
Okay, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. That was awesome. That was a great experience too.
You know, it's sad because they really wanted to be accepted mainstream.
Yes.
They tried to get on the radio a lot, and they were kind of not really able to crack the mainstream.
Yeah.
AM radio. But they had great pop songs, and I don't see why they couldn't have been, top 40.
Yeah, going back to the action. So what kind of music for those who don't know? I know it's punk, but it was punk like the Ramones, or it was a little bit slight different, like more Canadian style rock. Tell me a little bit.
We were very influenced by the Ramones in that the second verse would be the same as the first a lot of the time. So that kind of animation, bit of a repetition, kind of cartoonish. But I think the thing that set us apart was that we were kind of very glam punk. Mm-hmm. I was wearing makeup, and we all had long hair. I remember hardcore punks would come out to our shows and say, "Cut your hair, get your hair cut." And we had really long hair, and we just didn't want to cut it. So that was one of the main differences. Our look was kind of considered glam punk before glam punk was even
very
a
cool.
word.
Very cool, Ted. That's awesome. And tell me, now that we have talked about all this background now, that is huge, by the way, it's huge. I mean, yeah, like I say at the beginning, you're a legend, you're an icon, and again, this is a privilege to me to talk to someone with so much history, and you have all the foundation of the real punk rock and roll, basically, So how did you apply this into the new record, Sex, Horror, and Violence? Tell me about a little bit about the record that came out.
Well, it's got a punk ethic to it. There is one song, the song Sex, Horror, and Violence is a very punky song. But I think that's the kind of three words that can describe this era we live in. Yes. Sex, horror, and violence, as we're bombarded every day with the kind of end-of-the-world prophecies coming true. And so I think the music reflects that in itself. The music on the album is very slashing, tearing rock, and it's also very dark. I was kind of lucky to have hit on this, I wouldn't say goth, but a very dark kind of rock. It does have something for everyone, which is good because we've been able to open for a lot of different type of bands with the set. And I would say, I really can't describe it, but I would say one of my main influences is Alice Cooper.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say that. That's in my notes.
I do. Nothing specific, but my gestures are very dramatic, and we have a lot of smoke. The more smoke, the better.
Gotcha.
The more dry ice, the more fog, the better on stage, because I want to portray a kind of nihilistic London in the fog, or East Berlin look to the stage.
Very cool, very cool. Tell me about the members of your band, of the new band that you put together a year ago, Ted Axe.
Right. Well, we have Toronto's best guitarist on lead guitar, which is Marcel Lafleur.
Okay.
And Stéphane Ford, again, a massive drummer in the Toronto area, well sought after. And then a couple of new members, Corrado on bass and Julio on guitar, couple of new guys we just got in this week.
Very cool, very cool. Do you have any upcoming shows, or you're waiting for the summer? Because I know Canada is super cold.
Yeah, it looks like Sunday, February 23rd at the Rock Pile in Toronto, and that's a benefit for Australia, for the animals in Australia.
Nice.
So we want to be part of that. I'm a big animal lover and a huge animal rescuer as well. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I think it's very important.
Oh, very cool, man.
Yeah. I ended up rescuing over 100 dogs and cats in L.A. when I lived there.
Oh, nice.
It's a massive problem with stray dogs there. You know, you find them dead on the freeways and that kind of thing. So they used to call me the Pitbull Man. And then, so we have that Sunday the 23rd, and then April 11th at the Corktown in Hamilton, Ontario, which is not far from Toronto. So those are the two shows we're looking for.
Oh, awesome, awesome. And let me ask you a couple more questions regarding. Do you have any new songs, or are you working in new material right now, or you just?
Yes, we are. We're tending to. We're looking at going into the studio again in the next couple of months.
Okay.
So we're working on a couple of punky fast tunes.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So that's always very creative to go into the studio and produce things, you know, to the max, see what we can come up with.
Yeah. Are you guys also aiming to move? Not to move. Sorry, to tour in the U.S.
I would love to tour in the U.S. It's just to see. We have to make sure that the band can get in to the States because,
yeah.
you know, with the entry problems, a lot of bands have been turned away from the border.
I know.
So,
I know. Crazy.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that that's a possibility. But of course, being in Canada is isolating in a sense. So the only way to become well known is to tour in the States.
Mess with Mother Nature. Should mess with Mother Earth. And all the things wrong with this nation should be fixing up at home instead of sending rockets to the moon. And
you know, as we are talking on the back of the screen, there's some, you know, a couple of your paints that are very, very cool, and I wanted to talk because there are a lot of connections between your music and your art, you know, on the paints. It's a message coming from the paint, but also there's another message coming from your music, and there's a huge connection there. Tell me if correct me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. The two things go hand in hand, and I end up drawing about every night during the week at life drawing workshops, and do some sculpture and painting as well. So I tend to go for the classic styles that you might see in the art galleries, you know, from the 16th century Italian art.
Nice.
Baroque art. I'm very influenced by the Italians from that time.
Wow.
And of course, I actually went to the same school Picasso went to in Malaga, Spain.
Do you have any what's it called, expositions coming soon?
Nothing at the moment that's confirmed, but definitely there'll be something this summer. And right in my area here in Toronto, so that's going to be great.
Ted Axe, has been a pleasure talking to you. If you want to say something to the fans before we close the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I have actually a Facebook Ted Axe fans group, so look for that. I'd love to see you on there.
Awesome.
Welcome you to that group because that's a good way to get to know about me and my fans.
Long live the king, long live Elvis. Hey, 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 hey. Long live Elvis, baby. Long live the king.
Hey folks, hope you're doing good. Last one for today. This guy goes by the name of Ted Axe. He's got a track for us called Get Out of Rehab, and it does say on here, warning graphic sex and violence, so it's probably not safe for work. I'm just looking on his Facebook, and it does say that he's an alt glam band, and that will be the first glam band that we've had on the channel, so we'll see what that's all about. Let's get it up on the screen. Let's check this guy out. Nice old school vibe. Good attitude to the music. You can hear the bass quite nicely in the mix, which is good. Quite a big sound on the vocal there. A lot of delay and reverb to make it sound very big. It sounds cool. Yeah, it's got that nice old school heavy metal rock vibe to it, glammy. I'm liking the video as well. He's got a good kind of image to him. It's suiting the video very well as well. Got a lot of inflection in his voice. As I say, I like what they did on this part. The extra vocal layering and all the effects and stuff. Sounds good. Good energy to the music as well. All the music's mixed, you know, pretty well. Everything sounds good, so we can hear the bass in the mix, which is often the thing. If it's going to be lacking, it's the bass. But no, we can hear it nicely in the mix. It's cutting through the guitars as well, which is good. But yeah, good stuff. Good tone on the guitars as well. It's got that old kind of Marshall, I guess you'd say, tone. Recognisable tone to the ears, but it sounds good.
Now nothing keeps you company like a warm syringe.
Vocal's got a good attitude to it as well. It's got that kind of fuck you attitude to it. Yeah, this part's got a big sound. Should have had a word with Amy Winehouse, because she wasn't even going to go to rehab. At least this guy's trying to get out. Yeah, nice big sound. It's heavy. No, it's not super heavy metal, but that bit's heavy, man. It's got a big sound to it. Very cool. I enjoyed that a lot. I must admit, this isn't my kind of genre that I'm massively into in metal. You know, I love all metal. I love all bands, really. As long as you're playing instruments, I'm happy to hear it. But I enjoyed that quite a lot. Very good. I liked his voice. I liked the video as well. The video was good. The music sounded good. You know, it's not kind of breaking any boundaries or setting a new standard with this music, but I don't think he's even trying to. It's just good glam rock metal. Good recording, well made. Yeah, he's doing his thing. I enjoyed it. Good stuff. Now this guy has got a Facebook page. Just have a look in here. It says his interests are fine art, music, performing and writing. So he's a bit of a thinking man, which is cool. Now the band members, let's see. We didn't see anyone else in the band in the video, but there are a bunch of band members as well. 2 guitarists, rhythm and lead, bass and drums. So there's 5 in the band. Now these guys are from Toronto as well, another Toronto band. So there's all sorts of music in Toronto, you know, within metal, from glam to, you know, chaotic grindcore. So crazy. So their record label is a self-release. So they've done this all themselves. I don't know if they've mixed and mastered it themselves, but if they've done that as well, done a good job. Yeah, nothing stood out. As I say, we could hear the bass, which is somewhat, after doing many videos on here already, one of the things that I seem to kind of keep mentioning that could do with the bump in the mix is the bass generally, or the bass isn't cutting through the mix and things like that. Bass is a tough one. To get it to cut through over big, heavy, distorted guitars can be a chore. It depends very much on the tone of the bass and, what the bass is doing within the mix. But these guys did a good job of bringing out the bass. It was bassy music, chuggy, bassy music, so you wanted a lot of bass in there. But yeah, they did a good job of it, in my opinion. Now, their influences here are Alice Cooper, David Bowie, Iggy Pop, NY Dolls, T-Rex, and I think we heard all of that kind of style in this music. Yeah, that's what I say. It's a recognizable sound. The groundwork for this music's been laid a long time ago, but if you want to dive in and get involved, get glammed up, all the best to you. So there you go. That was Ted Axe. Cool band, cool video. Good way to end the day. Hope you enjoyed that. See you, bye.
In other entertainment news this weekend, we're going to reacquaint you with Ottawa's original punk band. Way back in the 1970s, The Action was one of the first bands to adopt the sounds and the attitude of the British punk movement. Now The Action is back. Check it out in the rest of your best bets in entertainment. They are the band credited with bringing punk to Ottawa. This grainy film footage shows The Action opening for UK punk legends the Stranglers way back in 1977. Now, The Action is back. Now, this is the original lineup of The Action, and they haven't played together for 32 years. Ted Axe, lead singer. The question is, why get together again after all that time?
2 record deals and a lot of money.
It's true. The band has a compilation of their complete punk recordings, both on CD and vinyl. And there's a tour in the works. But you can see them first with shows this Saturday night and Sunday afternoon at the Dominion Tavern. The Action is ready to rock down memory lane.
Well, absolutely. And I would suspect that a lot of people out there who grew up with The Action will feel the same way.
Makes you feel young again.
Just go through the strangle. Hit it, fellas. They're out there to the fantasy domain. Well, they were doing the strangle in the London rain. Bam down last night to the fantasy domain. They were laying it down in the fucking rain. In the rain, to the strangle. To the strangle, it's just the skin. To the strangle. To the strangle, it goes like this, wow. Down last night in the fantasy domain. Well, they were doing the strangle in the London rain. Went down last night to the fantasy domain. They were laying it down in the fucking rain. In the rain, to the strangle. To the strangle, it's just the skin. To the strangle. To the strangle, it goes like this, wow! Did the strangle, did the strangle, did the strangle, the strangle again. Did the strangle, did the strangle, did the strangle, the strangle again. Song about our humble beginnings and our recently deceased producer. Something called You Let Me Down All the Way. Hey, rock and roll! Yeah! A little Montreal, check out the scenery. Well, there's a tease and they gave us a seat. You let me down all the way. I'm in the pit, man, the Hollywood sink, man. You brought me a lawyer, a Sicilian.